Welcome to the Global Lens, bringing you the latest news from around the world. The South China Sea is a flashpoint, one of the world's most contested waters. Tensions here are rising fast, with Chinese and Philippine ships clashing near disputed shoals. Water cannons, lasers, and aggressive maneuvers are now routine. These aren't minor incidents, they're moves in a high-stakes contest for control of vital sea lanes. The world watches as the U.S. and China edge closer to confrontation. Multiple nations claim parts of the sea, but China's sweeping 9-line claim, rejected by an international tribunal, remains at the center. The Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, and Taiwan all have competing claims. The region is rich in resources and crucial for global trade. Trillions in goods pass through each year. Any disruption could send shockwaves through the global economy. The U.S. insists on freedom of navigation, increasing its naval presence and conducting operations to challenge China's claims. These actions send a clear message. Washington won't let any one country dominate these waters. Against this tense backdrop, a new development is unfolding. The U.S. is building a military runway in the Philippines, a move with major strategic implications. This isn't just about infrastructure, it's a symbol of a deepening alliance and a countermove in the region's geopolitical chess game. The runway signals a more permanent U.S. presence. It's a statement: the U.S. is here to stay, ready to support its allies. As tensions escalate, this new foothold could reshape the balance of power. The South China Sea is no longer just a maritime dispute, it's a potential flashpoint for global conflict. The stakes have never been higher. The world is watching, and the next move could change everything. The Powder Keg is primed. What happens next will reverberate far beyond these waters. On Luzon Island, the U.S. is upgrading Basa Air Base, a key Philippine military site. This new runway will handle advanced American aircraft, from fighter jets to bombers. Its location is strategic, quick access to the South China Sea and the Luzon Strait near Taiwan. The runway allows rapid deployment of air power and surveillance, extending U.S. reach in a volatile region. It marks a shift from temporary U.S. rotations to a more enduring presence. The project is part of a broader U.S. strategy, dispersing forces across the Indo-Pacific to reduce vulnerability. Upgraded Philippine bases create a resilient network, enhancing operational flexibility. This is all under the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, or EDCA, signed in 2014. EDCA lets the U.S. build and preposition assets at select Philippine bases. The Basa runway is the flagship project, proof of a reinvigorated U.S. Philippines alliance. For the Philippines, it means upgraded infrastructure and closer military ties. For the U.S., it's a strategic foothold near key flashpoints. The runway is more than concrete, it's a sign of renewed partnership. In a region on edge, it's a game changer. The message: the U.S. and Philippines are standing shoulder to shoulder. The new runway is part of America's broader pivot to Asia. This strategy shifts U.S. focus to the Indo-Pacific, now the center of global competition. China's rapid military and economic rise has driven this shift. Beijing's island building and militarization in the South China Sea challenge the U.S.-led order. The U.S. response is multifaceted: military power, stronger alliances, and economic engagement. The goal: a free and open Indo-Pacific where all nations operate without coercion. Military deterrence is key, showing that aggression will be costly. Facilities like Basa Air Base are part of integrated deterrence, combining military, diplomatic, and economic tools. The U.S. works with allies to strengthen the whole network. The runway boosts both U.S. and Philippine capabilities, making the alliance more effective. It's not just about American planes, it's about empowering partners. The pivot to Asia is real, and the runway is proof on the ground. The Indo-Pacific is now the world's strategic center of gravity. Geography shapes strategy in the Indo-Pacific. China's artificial island bases project power deep into the South China Sea, shifting the military balance. In response, the U.S. and allies have built a network of bases along the first island chain, from Japan to the Philippines. Traditional U.S. bases in Japan and South Korea are vital, but vulnerable to attack. That's why new dispersed sites in the Philippines matter. EDCA locations like Basa Air Base are close to Taiwan and the contested Spratly Islands. This distribution complicates enemy targeting and ensures U.S. forces can operate from multiple locations. The new runway turns Basa into a key node in this flexible network. These are places, not bases. Philippine facilities with U.S. access, not sprawling American outposts. It's a model that's politically sustainable and operationally agile. Larger aircraft can now operate from Basa, enhancing Allied power projection. The U.S. is building resilience, not just presence. This network is designed to counter China's growing influence. The region's military map is being redrawn. The stakes are higher than ever. The U.S. Philippines alliance is anchored by a 1951 mutual defense treaty. After the closure of massive U.S. bases in the 1990s, cooperation shifted. Now, with China's pressure mounting, the alliance is surging back. EDCA is the engine, allowing U.S. forces to rotate through and upgrade Philippine bases. The Basa Runway is a prime example. U.S. funds, Philippine control, shared benefits. It's not just about construction. Joint military exercises like Balikatan have grown in scale and complexity. Thousands of troops now train together, practicing everything from amphibious landings to humanitarian missions. These drills build interoperability, making both militaries stronger together. The new runway supports these goals, enabling U.S. and Philippine aircraft to operate side by side. It boosts the Philippines' ability to monitor its own waters. The ultimate aim, a credible Philippine defense, backed by U.S. commitment. A stronger Philippine military deters aggression and reinforces the alliance. The partnership is evolving, more flexible, more resilient, and more vital than ever. In a dangerous neighborhood, unity is strength. The runway is the alliance in action. Top officials are making their positions clear. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin calls the alliance ironclad, pledging to defend Philippine forces anywhere in the South China Sea. Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has steered the country back toward Washington, calling the U.S. an essential partner. He's expanded EDCA sites, signaling a strategic shift. U.S. commanders call the Basa runway a game-changer, reducing response times and increasing operational reach. Instead of flying from Guam or Japan, U.S. assets can now be staged closer to flashpoints. Not everyone in the Philippines is on board. Some politicians and activists warn that deeper U.S. ties could make the country a target in a U.S.-China conflict. Senator Amy Marcos has publicly questioned the expansion, citing risks to Filipino safety. These debates highlight the complex politics Manila must navigate. The alliance is strong, but not without controversy. As the runway nears completion, the stakes and the scrutiny are rising. The decisions made now will shape the region's future. China's response to the U.S. buildup in the Philippines is swift and critical. Beijing sees these moves as encirclement, an attempt to contain its rise. Chinese officials call the U.S. strategy aggressive, accusing Washington of stoking tensions for its own gain. When new EDCA sites were announced, China warned of serious harm to Philippine interests and regional peace. At sea, China's Coast Guard and maritime militia have grown more assertive, using water cannons and dangerous maneuvers to intimidate Philippine vessels. This is gray zone warfare, challenging sovereignty without open conflict. From Beijing's perspective, the Basa runway is a direct military threat, close to Taiwan and the South China Sea. Chinese analysts warn it could be used as a forward base in a future conflict. The narrative: the U.S. is dragging the Philippines into a great power rivalry. China aims to sow doubt in Manila and among Southeast Asian neighbors. The message is clear: closer U.S. ties come with risks. The region is caught in a tug-of-war between giants. Every move is watched and contested. The new runway and U.S. presence spark mixed reactions in the Philippines and beyond. Many Filipinos, especially those affected by Chinese harassment at sea, welcome the alliance. They see the U.S. as a vital partner against China's bullying. But a vocal minority protests, fearing loss of sovereignty and the risk of becoming a battleground. Memories of old U.S. bases and concerns about being targeted in a U.S.-China war fuel their opposition. Internationally, U.S. allies like Japan and Australia support the strengthened alliance, seeing it as key to regional security. They're building their own ties with Manila, creating a web of partnerships. Other Southeast Asian nations are cautious, wary of being forced to choose sides. ASEAN countries call for dialogue and adherence to international law, fearing escalation. The region's economic dynamism is at stake. No one wants conflict. The runway is a symbol of hope for some, anxiety for others. The debate reflects the region's deep divisions. As the U.S. and China face off, smaller nations weigh their options carefully. The future remains uncertain. The new runway at Basa Air Base is more than concrete. It's a symbol of shifting power in the Indo-Pacific. It anchors the U.S. Philippines alliance and signals a stronger American commitment to the region. For the U.S., it's a strategic foothold. For the Philippines, a chance to modernize and defend its sovereignty. Allies see it as a step toward stability. China calls it provocation. Within the Philippines, support and opposition reflect the nation's anxieties. The runway sits at the heart of a dangerous dynamic, where global ambitions and local fears collide. The Indo-Pacific is now the epicenter of global competition. As military hardware arrives and alliances deepen, one question remains: will these moves deter conflict or set the stage for it? The answer will shape the future of the region and the world.